Hi folks, welcome to the channel. My name's Gaz and today we've got two interesting challenges. First of all, we're looking at an extremely dirty van. Actually, I would say maybe three interesting challenges. It's a very dirty, rotten looking van. It's beaten up. It's not the oldest, but it's definitely tired, shall we say. The second one being, this is actually my dad's van. My dad's had his van from new and it's a work van. He loves his van, but it's definitely a bit worn and a bit tired. So we're going to do our very, very best using only, as best we can, Valet Chem products. Now, if you haven't heard of Valet Chem, they've got a range of car detailing and car washing products in their range, and we're going to be using not all of them, but definitely a lot of them to try and restore this van as best we can. Now, we are looking at, like you've just seen, a van that's covered in scratches, covered in blemishes. The wheels are rusty. There's mold and moss growing on it. There's scratches and scuffs everywhere. So we're really going to try, and there's actually one additional challenge which only affects me, and that's that my children decided they want to help make their granddad's van as nice as possible. So yeah, it made recording this a bit trickier than I would have hoped, but nonetheless, we're going to give it a good go. I'm going to try and show you as much as I can. Maybe you'll even learn something, or maybe at least to give you a bit of advice as well on Valet Chem products, and also on good ways to restore your own vehicle as best you can to try and bring that paintwork out, bring that shine out, and definitely protect your vehicle as well. So let's get on with it. So as I just mentioned, I've got a range of the Valet Chem products here that I'm going to be using. I've got a couple of backups just in case I'm not happy with quality, but generally I'm going to try and stick to just the Valet Chem products. So to start with, we hit the wheels. I hit the wheels with the iron fallout remover. Now this stuff, from my experience, is actually very good. It starts to work very, very quickly. Now with these wheels, I actually went over them twice. I went over them first with the iron fallout, and then I have a second mixture, which is a mixture of a wheel cleaner from Valet Chem, along with a little blob of their car shampoo to kind of help with that foaming up. And I've basically put that mixture on top of the iron fallout just to give an extra dwell time to try and get these wheels as good as possible. Obviously, considering their condition, the rust that's on them, the actual condition of the wheels, they're pretty tatty, they're pretty rusty. I know I'm not going to get them perfect, but I'm just going to try and do my best to make them look as nice as possible. But obviously, I've given the first rinse just on the wheels, just to kind of see what it looks like after that, obviously in the arches as well, just to assess how good I can get these. Then I go over them again a second time, and the second time is obviously when I then scrub the wheels. You can see in the little section, the small video, that's my daughter's recording if you want to know why it's so wobbly. The second time around gave me a much better idea. I was able to give them a good scrub, give the tyres a good scrub, and kind of see how they'd look. And to be honest, I was quite surprised. They come out okay. After that, we get on with the citrus side, I always call it. The citrus job is the lemon part of the job, where you degrease the vehicle. And generally when I degrease the vehicle, I only look at degreasing the kind of lower third, lower half. What I'm going to do this time is I'm actually going to soak the entire van with the citrus degreaser, and then I'm going to put the snow foam on top of that. Now the snow foam, obviously the Valet Chem snow foam, it recommends between 100 and 150 ml to a litre foam lance. I've got it about 100 ml. Now when it comes to the actual foam itself, I'm using my backup lance, which isn't the best, so that's maybe something to do with it. But in general, from my experience, this isn't the thickest of snow foams, but it does cling to the vehicle quite well.
Go in the back, point it right at the back, that's it.
Like here?
Go.
It clings and it runs down the vehicle really, really nicely, and even the boy was able to give it a good go, and they thoroughly enjoyed this part of cleaning the vehicle. It's a bit of fun to them, it looks pretty cool.
And then you're going to wash it off, right? Oh my days, do you like this bit?
It's alright.
You seem pretty fun.
These badges were filthy. Who's going to move the camera along?
Me, please. Me.
Sweet deal.
Is that good, Lily? Yeah.
I think the Valet Chem snow foam does a pretty good job. It does cling and run down the vehicle nicely. It does definitely loosen a lot of the thicker bits and bobs on the vehicle, and does a pretty good job.
What's your payment? I said book of jerseys.
A book of jerseys is Lily's payment.
Jerseys.
How about my payment?
You get payment every single day of the week.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, you do. You get a bath with shoes.
Look at all that dirt.
Oh my days, Grandad.
Brother, Grandad hasn't washed his van. Ever.
But you're giving it an actual good wash, aren't you?
Yeah. After the snow foam, we then rinsed it down. I was pretty pleased actually how it looked. The snow foam did quite a good job, definitely at loosening a lot of the grime and grit that was on the vehicle. Obviously the kids had a little go at rinsing it down as well, so the job took twice as long, but that's fine. We're all good. It's just having a nice easy day washing the van for Grandad. What's that on the glass? Look on the glass, there's a big blob on the glass. Oh, windscreen. Hey!
No, way on the roof! No, way on the roof.
Go get it. You reach. Hey, yeah. And you got Mummy's car as well.
Can I give it back? Let me quickly.
Inside that seal was probably one of the most disgusting I've seen. The amount of moss and pollen and dirt and twigs and leaves was just horrendous, and we spent a lot of time just trying to clean that up. Lily,
Yeah.
do you think we should scrub that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we gave it a good scrub and managed to get as much of it as possible. It could do another pass if I'm honest, but we got it pretty clean. After the rinse down, we obviously went through the door seals. The boot obviously was a van, so you've got a big space there, but we went around the inside of the doors. I actually cleaned the inside of the doors, the back doors, as well as around the seals around here. And you'll see kind of moss and green stuff and all sorts of bits come out of this. I just used a citrus degreaser for this and just sprayed it down, brushed with a couple of detailing brushes the best I could. We're not looking for perfect here on any section of the job, but we are looking to really improve the general look of this vehicle as much as we can within the time that we had. I was actually quite surprised by how the back wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. Not like the front where there was moss. The back was just kind of dried in dirt. Little hose down with a more narrow nozzle so you get not much water in the back, of course, with a drum kit in there. We definitely want to put water all over that. I was also surprised with the actual bodywork of this vehicle for a 15-plus-year-old van. It's bodywork solid. There's not many signs of rust, just a little bit of bubbling on some of the paintwork and obviously all the scratches that we've mentioned. Now, I didn't do a full engine detail on this, but I definitely cleaned around the areas as much as I could, and obviously the door seals needed a bit of attention. It's good. Watch out. It's going to jet you.
Oh, are you going to do like, you know where the pencils are and all that?
I'm
Can you do that? Like put it into your wash.
I might do. We're going to see how we get on. We'd quite like to do. So, you can see how it goes. But I'm going to do inside the door shuts like this anyway.
Do you do that on almost every single wash?
Yeah. If you're enjoying the video, you're learning something, or perhaps you're just finding this funny that we're doing things in this way, then please drop a subscribe, hit a like, and leave us a comment. Leave whatever comment you like. I might respond, I might not. It depends how I feel about your comment. If it's mean, I'm probably going to block you and tell you to stuff off. But if it's nice, I'm probably going to say thanks very much and please subscribe. That's just the way it is around here.
Alright, where's the hose? We'll take it inside, yeah? Thank you.
Don't point it this way and spray the camera and me.
Is that good?
Let me do that one first. You can do the other side, yeah, Archie?
Yeah. I'll block the camera anyway, so...
I'm looking. Ooh, looking fresh. Quick hose down and a quick dry up and the door seals were done. So onto the contact wash. I filled up a rinse bucket and a wash bucket. I don't know why my grit guard was floating around. Valet Chem car shampoo. Now this recommends 15ml or 3 caps full to a 10-litre bucket. I went a little bit over the top on this because I know from experience this doesn't seem to foam up the best. It foams up okay, but I feel like it needs a little bit more. I'm not quite sure. Compared to other products I've used, I find this just doesn't foam up and give me the suds that I want, particularly once you've got it on the vehicle. It just doesn't give enough lubrication at times. So I kind of go a little bit over the top, use a little bit more than what they recommend. However, this is a very cheap car shampoo, so you have to think about that when you're doing these things. So between me and two of the kids, we went around the entire car, scrubbing it with our mitts as best we can, using the 2-bucket method. I might have had to go over the kids' bits a little bit, but they actually didn't do quite a bad job, to be fair to them. The side that I did, I checked as well, but their side I would kind of just double check over. And yeah, I was quite pleased with what they'd done. They actually got around most of the vehicle, apart from the top. The tall bits, they couldn't quite reach at times, but yeah, they did great. They did as well as anyone could expect them to do. I use an angled nozzle just to hit underneath as best I can. I wasn't going to scrub underneath, but I want to just hose off any kind of heavy, loose items that might be under them quickly under the arches. Even though I'd already scrubbed them, I just wanted to rinse off right in that underside as best I can. That little nozzle's actually got me out of a few tricky places in the past because it's such a cool angle just to hit awkward places you can't always see. It just rinses out all those little nooks and crannies. Let me rinse down the entire vehicle, getting rid of all that shampoo. The contact wash is done. Now, we could have passed over the body 6 times and we still would have come across dirt and grime and everything. But at this point, we really wanted to dry it off once it was rinsed and kind of assess the paintwork and see how far we could kind of go with it with the time that we had. Drying off the vehicle definitely shows what the things are that need to be done with the paintwork, or at least what we can do to improve it. This is the best time as well to kind of look at the paintwork. Once it's dried, you've had it given a good clean, and so there's no dirt on the vehicle, it's just the bodywork, the wheels, and you can really assess kind of what's going to improve with a clay bar and a polish. Now I'm focusing here on the bonnet because the bonnet had some old vinyl graphics on it that were on years ago and then they were removed. Now the thing with the bonnet being, that adhesive is right in the sun and it's actually baked on. There's going to be some close-ups of that a little bit later where you're going to see where it's baked in through the paint. The adhesive has actually gone through the paint. But you can see this vehicle is covered in scruffs and scratches. I mean, it's age-related marks. The whole grey black bumper trims are very faded and very poor. The bird poo has gone right into the paintwork and it's caused all sorts of problems. So we're not looking for miracles here, but I am looking to try and remove as much as possible and really try and improve the general look of this van as best I can. Now we have given that a quick scrub in there and a quick dry, and I'm happy with inside the petrol cup or diesel cup as it were. It looks a lot better, and you can see just some good clean. We're getting nice reflections from the paint. So I find at this point it was quite promising. I thought, do you know what, we're never going to get this perfect, but I really think we're going to improve the look of this van. There's still some funny marks around the Citroen and the Berlingo badges that I just couldn't bring out. It was like the dirt was ingrained into the paint through the lacquer. Especially around here where the keys have been swinging around and really taken the lacquer and the paint away. So with the clay bar, my eldest actually really loved this clay bar. He was fascinated by when you rub your fingers across a dry panel and you can feel the little grains in it, and then when you use a clay bar just gently rubbing across with a solution, you can get lubricants. I just use the Valet Chem car shampoo as a lubricant. I've done quite a good job with this part actually, but the difference, my oldest was fascinated that after doing this clay bar and just rubbing your fingers over, the paintwork feels so smooth. Even for such an older vehicle, it really makes a big difference. And even in the rain, yes, it did rain part way through. Luckily it was at this stage where you don't mind a bit of extra lubrication. My oldest definitely enjoyed doing this, and this was the quietest he's been in about 6 months, so yeah, it was a result for everyone. So we carried on around the entire vehicle. We even did the glass, we did the front, the back, the sides, everywhere. Clay barred the entire vehicle, including the roof, like you've just seen. Really trying to get as many contaminants out of that paintwork and out of that body as best we can, just so we can kind of really see what we're going to get out of a polish. And we really do soak the vehicle in this car shampoo just as extra lubricant. We shouldn't have really bothered even drying it, but I kind of wanted to do that drying stage so then we could see the bodywork and make an assessment on what to do next. Quick rinse down by Lily, and we're on to the next stage. We're looking at the signage on the back here, and you can see where it's the kind of the shadowing where it was off. It was on the vehicle for a long time, and then it was taken off. Not taken off in the best way, and you can see all the swirls and scratches. We're not going to make this a showroom piece vehicle by any means. This is kind of past that, but we can definitely improve what's there, and this is going to be a good reflection on what you can get away with the all-in-one polishing compound by Valet Chem that we're going to be using. We're not going to be using any special compounds, we're not going to be doing any extra stages, we're just doing a single stage with the all-in-one polishing compound by Valet Chem, just to kind of see. I really want to see what it could do with this kind of vehicle in this bad of a condition. A little test piece here to kind of see what we think and what the improvements are like. A few camera issues there with the kids, but you know, that's fine. Quick buff off, and just from there you can see the difference. It's by no means perfect, but you'll see a few close-ups here of the extra swirl marks. You'll see less swirl marks on the polished side than you do on the non-polished side, and that's really what we're aiming for. And this was a good test just to see kind of what you're going to get. This is a good stage where you could say to your customer, look, come out and have a quick look just to see what you're going to get, so everyone knows what they're actually going to get from this single stage polish. They're going to get an improvement to what's there. Now what I would say at this point about this all-in-one polishing compound by Valet Chem is that it does a good job. It's not the most abrasive, which is kind of a good thing. It's quite a safe polish, but at the same time it's not the finest, so it's not going to be such a good finishing polish. It is an all-in-one compound in the day, so it's kind of middle of the range kind of thing. I think generally, considering this vehicle, I actually think it did quite a good job. It wasn't the best, but certainly wasn't the worst. It definitely improved the look of the van. The kids took over at this point. They was just desperate to use the polisher, so they had to do some cool close-up shots. Here's a good demonstration of just how far the all-in-one polishing compound goes from Valet Chem. You can see on the right hand side here, that's the polished side, and on the left hand side it's not polished. What I found it quite good at, it was just reducing the amount of scratches and swirls and kind of blemishes in the paintwork. It doesn't remove them completely, but it definitely reduces them. Now I imagine at this point with this vehicle, the lacquer is very thin, it's worn, it's tired, the paintwork's worn and tired. I was quite pleased with how it performed on those sections. Really, it really cleared up a lot of the sections quite well. So here's me just carrying on, getting along the whole side of the van. By this point, the kids have had enough. They've got a bit bored of the polisher and bored of me moaning at them for getting in the way. So they cleared off for a little while, which really allowed me some time to get on with this van and polish the rest of the vehicle as best I could. Now after this is where we had a few problems because the kids were charging around outside. So there's a section after this where I add the spray sealant. Now the spray sealant from Valet Chem is a SiO2 sealant. It sounds good on paper. You use a microfiber, you spray it on, rub it off, and away you go in. It's hydrophobic, so it gives you a lot of water. And I think it's 6 months they say this is for. Now this is actually the close-up I was talking about earlier, where you can see the adhesive and the old vinyl stickers have eaten through that lacquer, through the paintwork. And there's no way you can repair that with a polish. This is you'd need proper paint correction, painting, sanding, all that kind of stuff, which obviously I don't do. And I just wanted to show you kind of how bad the damage was on this signage, especially on the bonnet where the graphics have been baked in. Now, like I said, I didn't have any footage of the spray sealant I used. I was quite impressed with how it was to apply. But what I then tried was using the tyre dressing from Valet Chem as a bumper treatment as well. This is a silicone product. It's silicone based and it's great on the tyre, does a really good job, and it's actually quite durable. They do a bumper gel which I've used as well, but I find the gel it's a gel, and I'm not a big fan of gels. I find they get sticky, things attached to them on the wheels, they spray everywhere. So I thought this tyre shine dressing might work quite well on the bumpers, and I was quite impressed with it. What I found is give it a good coating, make sure you cover all the areas, give it 10, 15, 20 minutes, as long as you can really, then just wipe it all over with a microfiber cloth afterwards and you get a really nice finish. And there's the finish, there's the outcome. See a little bit of a before shot here from the front. and we've definitely improved the general look of this vehicle, 100%. Well, I'm pleased to say my dad was happy with the outcome in the end. We could definitely go a lot more steps on with this van. We could definitely do more stages of polishing, more refinement to the paintwork to really try and bring out as best we can. But we are looking at a work vehicle that has had a fair life. To be fair, it's only done about 110,000 miles for a 2009 van, so it's doing really, really well. But there's an oil leak that's really bothering my dad at the minute, but that's another thing. I'm going to quickly talk about these Valet Chem products and what I think of them, kind of one by one, but I don't want to go on about them too much. First of all, start with the citrus degreaser. Now, actually, I quite like this citrus degreaser. I don't just use this for cleaning cars either. I use this for all sorts of things, degreasing a lot of things. It's a very, very handy product. Does a very, very good job. You can dilute it 5:1, or you can use it neat if you really, really need to. I find 4:1, 5:1 dilutions very, very good. I've had no problems with it. It's very good at degreasing stuff. So it's a nice degreaser, and definitely for the price, it's definitely worthwhile. I mean, I have used better citrus degreasers, but I think at the price point that this one is at, I think it does a very, very good job. Onto the snow foam. Snow foam's an interesting one because some people like the thickest of foams that really cling to the vehicle when they sit there and slowly drag down. And that can be very handy if you're deciding to do other things at the time. If you happen to do a lot of finer brush work at that time, where you want to do some finer brush detailing and you want that foam to be on there as long as possible. If it's really sunny or it's hotter, maybe that thicker foam helps. I find this stuff does okay. Yes, I will hold my hands up. I'm using my backup lance, my backup snow foam lance, which really isn't very good. It's a budget lance as well, and that struggles to really get that thick foam. This and a better lance is slightly thicker, but it's definitely not the thickest snow foam. Even if you lower the dilution, have more of the snow foam in there, it helps a little bit, but it's not the best. But again, for a budget line, what can I say? It does the job. It clung really, really nicely. It does glide down the vehicle nicely, but it still clings nicely and definitely softens some of that grime. It doesn't drag a lot off, but it certainly softens the grime that's there, and the dirt that's there is very, very good. With the way I done it in this van, where we did the citrus degreaser and then we snow foamed on top, combining those two products definitely helped to pull off as much as possible and did a better job than doing one and then the other. Just give it that extra dwell time, the extra time to cling to the dirt and the grime and pull it off. Carrying on with the car shampoo. Again, it's a budget one. It is a budget car shampoo, and it kind of acts like that, which is a bit of a shame because I would have liked for this car shampoo to be a little bit more foamy. It's not the most... the lubricative would be the word I wanted to use there. It's just not the most sudsy. I like a nice sudsy car shampoo. Some of the more premium ones give you that kind of feel. Also, the scent on this is kind of lacking. I don't really find much of a scent on this car shampoo. It done an okay job. It definitely washes the car. It also works really, really well, as you've seen, as a lubricant for clay iron, and I think it done quite a good job of that. It was quite nice to use. This doubled up with the wheel cleaner also does a very, very good job of creating a very nice foam when used in a pump sprayer. Does a very, very good job there. So there's definitely kind of other ways you can use this car shampoo. If you're finding you prefer another brand of car shampoo, you can use this one if you bought it for other things, and it definitely is like a bit of a booster to those kind of things. So yeah, I am going to be making use of this, probably not so much for the contact wash within my two buckets, but definitely more for things like wheel treatment, where I really want to foam them wheels up to give an extra dwell and pack a bit of punch to that clean. So it definitely helps with things like that. Speaking of wheel cleaner, the wheel cleaner itself is very, very good. I use the wheel cleaner quite a lot. It cleans up wheels, especially kind of polished wheels or silver wheels. My own silver wheels on my car, they work really, really well on. Spray it on. It works very well. You don't even really need to worry too much about the iron fallout if you just use the wheel cleaner. Iron fallout does a wonderful job, and I'm very pleased with the iron fallout. And I've been using the Valet Chem iron fallout remover for quite a while. It just seems to eat away at that brake dust really, really quickly. It works really, really quickly. It's not very thick, but that's fine. It runs really nicely, and it pulls away quite a lot of that iron, that brake dust, that grime, all that kind of stuff on the vehicle. But the wheel cleaner does almost as good of a job. It just doesn't quite eat away as much brake cleaner than the iron fallout does. Carrying on with the all-in-one polishing compound. Yeah, it's an all-in-one. When you get these all-in-ones, can do everything. Yes, they kind of do everything okay. They're like jack of all trades, master of none, or something like that. It's a average compound that does an average job. If you're looking for a premium finish on a vehicle, this isn't for you. This is something to just improve what's there. It's probably not going to do the most amazing job to make a show vehicle. It's just going to improve what's there to a degree. It's not the most abrasive, but it's not the finest. It's middle of the range. Like it says on it, it's an all-in-one compound. It kind of does a bit of everything. It definitely does that. It definitely improved from you seen from the footage there. It definitely improved the look of the vehicle. Got rid of a lot of the swells. Obviously can't hit those deeper scratches. A lot of these scratches on this vehicle have gone past a polish to be able to repair. They need something else, but I think it's okay. Again, for the price, you can't fault it for the price. If you've got just light swells on your vehicle, this one will probably do the job quite well, but anything more than that, it's going to struggle with. Tyre dressing, quickly onto the tyre dressing. Like I say, I've tried this now. This van isn't the first vehicle I tried this on, not just on the tyres, which I think it does a very, very good job on it. It doesn't give you that super high wet look gloss. It just gives you a nice deep shine, I suppose, would be the best way to put it. Does a good job on the tyres and lasts quite well. I find 4 weeks is about the time that I'm getting out of this. On bumpers, because bumpers aren't getting as much abuse as such, they're just getting a bit of light rain and things like that, and a bit of grime. It lasts quite well on some bumpers, and that's why I've really hit this Bilingo van with it, to really see how it will work slightly longer term. I don't quite know if it's going to do a month, 2, 3 months, because I've never used it as this kind of application, but I thought, considering we're looking at using as many Valet Chem products as possible, and I'm really not a fan of bumper gel in general. That's not just saying that the Valet Chem bumper gel isn't good. I've used the Valet Chem bumper gel and that's fine, but it acts very much like the others. Meguiar's is one that I've used in the past. Also, I think I've got you might have seen it earlier in the video. We had the Easy, I forget what it's called now. It's a green one. It's the gel stuff. Now, the gel stuff is great at getting that super wet look. If you want a vehicle to look super slick, with those nice wet looking wheels, and if you have black trim sections, you can really slick them up. But that stuff does get sticky. Now, it definitely helps if you apply it, leave it for a long while, and then wipe it off. But it's still sticky stuff. And on the wheels, it starts to flick up everywhere and can get a bit messy. And on the bumpers, everything sticks to it. And when it comes to washing again, you're going to find you've got to really spend a lot more time on those bumper sections to clean it off, to then clean the bumpers again, because it's just sticky and annoying. So I'm hoping this silicone based stuff will do a nicer job, and definitely when it comes to maintenance and regularly washing vehicles, it's just going to be easier to remove, to clean up and reapply. It might even add a bit more protection when it comes to reapply again. It's not going to be as faded. It coats the bumpers much better and provides a longer lasting shiner. That's what I'm kind of hoping for. But when it comes to applying this stuff, I just applied it quite thick and then just rubbed it off after a little while. And yeah, it looks, as you've seen from the close-ups and stuff, I think it looks pretty good. I'm quite impressed with this stuff so far. But these are early days for this product, so I'll see in a couple of weeks how we get on with it. Lastly, this spray sealant. Now, this is an SiO2 spray sealant. I'm sure on their website it says 6 months. I'm going to read this bit, because it says SiO2 technology and specialist polymers for a strong cross-linking shield, producing a mirror-like finish and hard shell bond. I have no experience with this stuff. I've used other sealants of this type before, and they've performed pretty well. Everyone loves a bit of water beading. Everyone loves some good protection. Obviously, if you're going to go down the ceramic route, then that's a whole nother level. But with this van, I really didn't want to go that far, and obviously wanted to stick to Valet Chem products as well. It applied really, really nicely. They said on the description, on the directions, that you spray it on, you wipe off, and then you're going to have to buff it off with another microfiber towel. Now, I did do that. However, I found just spraying it and wiping it, and I didn't have much haze. It was just applying and drying as such with a quick wipe, very, very easy. And it was definitely bringing out a bit more of that shine. So it didn't take as much work as I thought it would. We'll see long term. We'll see how this stuff lasts. I'm not sure if it says in this bottle how long. I'm sure on their website it says 6 months. Now, I might have that wrong. I'll put it down here if I've got that wrong. But yeah, I'm sure it says up to 6 months. Now, I'd probably take that with a pinch of salt. But what I'm really hoping in the next couple of days, if we get a bit of rain, I can pop round and see my dad and check out his van and see how it's looking. I might even add another section or a second video, kind of a revisit to this van in a week or so, and see how it's looking. Actually, that's probably a good idea, really. That'll really see what these Valet Chem products are like, and if they actually do the job. For the price, I definitely think they're worth considering. Overall, you should definitely go check out Valet Chem for one reason or another. Maybe it's just one or two different products that you need in bulk. If you've got buying in bulk, they're very, very good deals on bulk, and they've got lots of all sorts of discounts. Now, just for the record, I purchased all these products myself. None of these have been sent to me by Valet Chem. These are all products that I've purchased myself just to try out, and I've used these as a way of kind of understanding certain products that I use a lot of. There's some products that I have favourites. There's some citrus degreasers I've used that I like more. There's some car shampoos that I definitely like more, that I use a lot more and I will use a lot more. But for this vehicle and being my dad, maybe I was being a bit tight. Or maybe I just thought it'd be fun to try these products, especially if you're going to be washing your own vehicles, and you might not want to spend a fortune. You might be quite happy to spend a fortune on all these types of products and better products, but you might be on a bit of a budget, and these Valet Chem ones, they're not bad.